What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm your host, Warren, and today we're going to be talking about Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, appearing in Spider-Man No Way Home, because recently he's done quite a few interviews, and of course, they asked him about if he's going to be returning as Matt Murdock in Spider-Man No Way Home, possibly appearing as Peter Parker's lawyer, and now we finally have some sort of a response from him, and it makes us believe that he is indeed going to be returning. Now, right now, obviously there is a lot of talk about Matt Murdock showing up in Spider-Man No Way Home. Not only does this just make sense, but a lot of plot leaks have said that he's going to be returning as well. And one plot leak that you guys have heard me say I know to be true a few times does say that Matt Murdock is indeed going to be Peter Parker's lawyer in the beginning of the film as he's trying to clear his name. And this also just makes sense. The character fits perfectly to be his lawyer. That's what Matt Murdock is. Not to mention, we do have the Echo series coming up, which is said to bring back Fisk and Daredevil. So this could just be the tip of the iceberg. If you are a Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock fan, this video is for you. And if you're an MCU fan, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the latest Marvel videos. Now, Charlie Cox doesn't actually have any of the social medias. He's not on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. He doesn't have any of that. However, in a recent interview, he was asked if he sees everything that is happening, like when his name goes trending. And of course, it goes trending because of Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, I have 3 different interview clips that are very important to see here. One is him talking about the rumors and addressing them. The other is about whether that was his forearm in the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. And the final one is him straight up addressing whether or not he's in Spider-Man No Way Home or will be in the MCU in the future. And listen very carefully to what he has to say here, and listen to how he kind of stumbles for his words, thinking about what he's supposed to say. He's asked how he feels when he sees his name trending on Twitter, and he's asked how he feels when people break down theories about him being in Spider-Man No Way Home.
So I'm not on social media, so I don't have the same awareness about it as probably other people do. But obviously I hear about it. You know, my mum will tell me about it, and my wife is aware of it, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I see it as a massive, it makes me feel very grateful that people care that much. You know, I also like, it makes, you know, I wouldn't want to ruin something either way. Like, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
So it makes me a little anxious in that regard. Yeah. You know, because so it's a difficult, you know, so it's a difficult thing to talk about. You know, all I would say is, like, I guess everyone, myself included, is just going to have to wait and see what happens.
So when asked about Spider-Man No Way Home, he says, I don't want to ruin anything either way, meaning he doesn't want to ruin it if he's in it, and he doesn't want to ruin it if he's not in it. But then he says that it makes him a little anxious, and that it's a difficult thing to talk about. And he says that I guess everybody, himself included, is going to have to wait and see what happens. This is actually rather interesting language that he's using, because if you weren't returning to the MCU, if you weren't coming back in Spider-Man No Way Home, you would simply state that. You wouldn't want to lead people on, you wouldn't want to give them any sort of false hope. So if the answer was absolutely no, you would simply say no. This is kind of a reverse of what Andrew Garfield has been doing. A lot of us believe him to be in the movie, there's a lot of evidence for it, but no matter what, he straight up says, no, I'm not in the film, I'm not the werewolf. He sticks to one story, even though sometimes it gets a little not so clear, like when he says he hasn't seen a photo and then he says, oh, I have seen it. But nonetheless, he sticks to the same story. However, Charlie Cox isn't really picking a side. He's not saying I am in it, but he's not saying he's not in it. But he has more to say, and let's get to these other clips. So for those of you who didn't catch this, I'll just talk about this real quick for those who haven't seen it. Adam Barnhart from comicbook.com interviewed Charlie Cox not too long ago and asked him if those were his forearms in the beginning of the trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home. A lot of us, including myself, did think that this specific character could have been Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. But here's what Charlie Cox had to say.
I have a picture of it right here. So Charlie Cox with the world as your witness. Are those your forearms? I mean, I've seen forensic scientists trying to break it down. So
I can promise you those are not my forearms.
There you have it. Those forearms do not belong to Charlie Cox.
Mighty
fine forearms he has, but those
mighty fine forearms, they are not my forearms.
Awesome. Charlie, that is all I had for you today, man.
Thanks, Adam.
And not to mention, when the trailer finally did come out in 4K and when it came out on IMAX, we did get a better look at the face of that person, and it is indeed not Charlie Cox. However, with that confirmation of the character, we do see that that is a detective and not a lawyer. His lawyer has not been revealed yet in the trailers, and the plot leaks say that Matt Murdock is his lawyer. And check out this final interview clip. This was from just a few days ago. Charlie Cox is being asked if he's going to be returning as Matt Murdock in Spider-Man No Way Home in the MCU, and he's also asked if he just wants the answer to be out there in the public already, so he doesn't have to worry about answering the question, and here's what he said, and pay very close attention to the end.
I'm just conscious of when I'm asked about it. You know, I don't want to ruin anything for fans either way. You know, do you know what I mean? So I'm my answer is, I've no idea. I'm no comment. I don't know what's going to happen. I genuinely don't know. I also, you know, like, if there was a chance of that happening in the future, I don't want to say something that could potentially jeopardize those chances, you know, because the people high up in Marvel, maybe they see this stuff or they hear what I say or blah, 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 and maybe that influences it. I don't know. I have no idea, but you know, I don't find, I love how passionate the fans are, and I feel very, very, very touched that so many of them have gone online and made their voices heard about their desire for me to come back, and maybe in the future that might happen, and that would be great. So who knows? We'll see.
So this is perhaps one of the most interesting things that I have heard in an interview before, specifically a Marvel character being asked about returning as that Marvel character. Again, Charlie Cox says no comment after stuttering a lot, but then he says something that I haven't really heard somebody say before. He says that if there was a chance of that happening in the future, meaning him returning to the MCU or Spider-Man No Way Home, he wouldn't want to say anything to jeopardize that. Now, if he's already in Spider-Man No Way Home like we believe him to be, this is actually a pretty good statement. He is basically saying, hey, if I am in it, I'm not trying to say anything to mess it up. But of course, only him and a handful of people know that he is indeed in it. But again, we go back to the same issue. If he was not in the movie, he would simply say he's not in the movie. Because even if he did want to be in it, he could simply say, hey, no, I'm not in the movie. I wish I was. I would love to return as Matt Murdock. That's pretty simple to say. And you have to think, why wouldn't you just say that if you're not in the movie? You know, he claims that he doesn't want to ruin it for fans, but why would he give us false hope? Why would he lead us to believe that maybe he would be in the film if he's not? For a guy that seems to care about the fans, and I do believe that he does, I don't believe that he would lead everybody on like that. What I think this is a really good answer from somebody who is indeed returning in the MCU and in No Way Home, but trying not to let anybody know that he's returning. Like I mentioned, the one plot leak that has been confirmed to be real from the trailer, because the plot leak was posted months before the trailer came out, and then when the trailer came out, we actually saw scenes that were in the plot leak that the plot leak described. Well, this plot leak said that in the beginning, Peter Parker is going to go to court, and Matt Murdock is his lawyer. Not Daredevil. Actually, all of the leaks that have come out about Matt Murdock have said it's just Matt Murdock and not actually Daredevil. Combine this with the fact that Echo is getting her own spin-off series, and the rumor is that Fisk and Matt Murdock are going to be returning. So we'll have Daredevil and Kingpin, according to the rumors. It would make sense that Matt Murdock would make an appearance before that, especially since it fits so well. They're both in New York. He is a lawyer. Peter Parker needs a lawyer. Matt Murdock is a superhero. Nobody knows, but he does. So it would make sense that he would want to defend another superhero. And based off of what he said in his interviews, it does seem like he is trying to hide the fact that he is returning. But what do you think? Do you think the rumors and plot leaks are true and Charlie Cox is going to be returning as Matt Murdock in Spider-Man No Way Home and then again in the MCU down the road, or do you think he's done? Let me know. Don't forget to like the video, and for live updates, you can always follow me on Instagram and Twitter. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.